Okay, we're back. We're live. It's our flagship show. It's Hawaii, the state of clean energy. My favorite show all week long. This is it. This is it, Ray. Ray Starling, sitting next to me.
Hi, Jay.
My co-host in the state of energy. Here, it's a show
Clean
created
energy.
by.
It's state of clean energy.
Okay, well, you know, different people, different strokes, you know, and it's actually supported by the Hawaii Energy Policy Forum and by Hawaii Energy. So we are so happy to be here every Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. And today we're doing a Skype show with Alex Tiller. He's with Autowatts, and he joins us from Bolivia. Welcome, Alex. Say hi to the people.
Hi, Jay. Hi, everyone. I am not in Bolivia.
No, I didn't think you were in Bolivia. Where are you?
I'm in Denver, Colorado right now.
Fair enough. It doesn't even look like Bolivia. And he is the CEO of Autowatts, so we're going to learn a lot about Autowatts and all the things around Autowatts, and made his reacquaintance only a couple of weeks ago at the summit there in the convention center, where he was part of the. I guess you were part of the accelerator group, the energy accelerator group, and
That's
you
right.
spoke about Autowatts, and 1,000 people were listening to you. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great event, great opportunity to show off not only Autowatts, but all the other energy accelerator companies.
Yeah, that was actually my favorite part of at least the first morning of that discussion. To hear you guys go, it was stimulating. Anyway, so we're going to take a moment here and check in with Hawaii Energy, the negawatt moment, because that's really important. You know, and I've come to believe. I want to just make a statement, Ray. This is for your benefit. You know,
Okay.
is that people don't know.
They don't
know.
They really
And
don't.
you want to walk down the street with a baseball bat and smack them on the side of the head and try to tell them, you know, that a negawatt is just as important, if not more important, than a megawatt. That's what it is.
That's right.
Yeah. We got to show them.
Well, I think you have what you need right here.
Okay, we have Chelsea Harder. No pressure, Chelsea.
All right.
Show them, tell them, show them about the internship program you have.
Thank you, Jay. Well, for those of you that don't know, Hawaii Energy is the ratepayer-funded energy conservation and efficiency program, which is serving the islands of Hawaii, Lanai, Maui, Molokai, and Oahu. We offer financial incentives to residents and businesses to help offset the cost of installing energy-efficient equipment. The program also conducts education and training for residents, businesses, and clean energy allies to encourage energy conservation behaviors and efficiency measures. So, Hawaii Energy is partnering again this year with Kupu Hawaii by providing funding for its RISE program. So RISE stands for Rewarding Internships for Sustainable Employment. So Kupu Hawaii, for those of you who haven't heard of them, is a nonprofit organization that empowers Hawaii's youth to learn about natural resources management, renewable energy, energy conservation, and other green job skill sets. So basically, it's building our green workforce. So the RISE program was designed for college students and recent graduates to address two important needs in Hawaii: local job creation and sustainable development.
Okay, are you comfortable with that, or do you want to say something else about it?
I would love to say more about it.
Would you? Come on.
All right, please. So Kupu Hawaii is currently looking for 4 new RISE interns. So there's going to be 2 on Oahu, 1 on Maui, and 1 on Hawaii Island. So these RISE interns are going to be working with Hawaii Energy for the following activities: assisting Hawaii Energy's business program with pre- and post-site visits to inspect lighting, air conditioning, pumps, and other equipment, and identify best practices for us.
So what side of the business are they going to be on? Are they going to be on the publicity side, or the technical side, or the...
Good question. So we have different programs within Hawaii Energy. Our business program is one of them. So they're the ones that offer incentives and rebates for businesses. This particular incentive is for small businesses that we're focusing on, but it can also range to other post-site inspections. So what we're looking to do is for the 4 interns to complete a minimum of 100 pre- and post-site inspections for Hawaii Energy. So they'll get customer interface, they'll learn the technical aspects, and they'll get on-the-job training.
How long is the internship? How long does it last?
The internship is from November of this year to June of 2015.
Oh, so 2015. So
Right.
it's about 6 months.
Yep, so it's a part-time position. It's 15 hours per week, and they're looking to hire right now. So I want to come back to another component of the internship. They're also helping our residential program. They are going to do research for different efficiency and conservation programs across the country, and make recommendations for Hawaii Energy to adopt some more incentives that are fitting for Hawaii's market.
Okay. How many are you going to hire?
We're going to hire 4. So 2 will be based on Oahu, 1 on Maui, and 1 on Hawaii.
How much are you going to pay them? Can you say on the air?
It's going to be about $15 per hour, but that's based on, that will be based on different factors.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what kind of people are you looking for? I mean, what are the parameters? Who should apply?
Good question.
Should I apply? Should Ray apply?
Well,
Ray, you could apply, Ray. What about Alex Tiller? Can he apply?
We're actually looking for students that are enrolled in community college or universities or graduate programs, or a recent graduate within 2 years. So these are students that are pretty green, coming out into the green
So
workforce.
what's this going to do for them? I mean, aside from $15 an hour.
It's going to give them an introduction to the professional world in green and clean energy. So we're looking for motivated, passionate people who have awareness of local sustainability and clean energy issues.
Okay.
This is actually where, and we've been doing this for several years now, the program.
You've been doing
It's
interns?
Yes, we've been supporting Kupu with their RISE intern program.
Exactly, this is our 3rd year.
And it has worked out very well for both us, RISE interns, and Kupu, as well as the people out there who get these interns working with them. And basically, it takes the classroom and turns it into the real world for them.
Yeah.
They get to look at and see how it actually works out there in the real world.
And they're mentored throughout the process.
Right.
You know, what you guys could do if you really wanted to spice up this job offer is tell them that they can come on ThinkTech Hawaii on Wednesday in the State of Energy, or Clean Energy as the case may be.
That's
Wow,
not a bad
that's a
idea.
great
It'll be a
idea.
thrill they'll never forget.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'll put that in there. So,
No charge.
He's serious.
I want to interview
I think
them
it'd be
too.
a great opportunity. All right, so just so everyone knows, the deadline to apply for these RISE internships is at the end of this month, so October 31st. Halloween. So to apply, you can go to risehawaii.org, so that's risehi.org, or you can call me directly at 848-8568.
848-8568.
Yes.
You heard it here on ThinkTech with Chelsea Harder of Hawaii Energy, talking about interns. It's great that you guys are offering this program. Thank you very much, Chelsea.
Thank you, Jay.
Okay, let's go back to Alex and talk about what's going on with Autowatts. That's one word. It's A-U-T-O. I guess it's capital W-A-T-T-S. Am I right?
No, the W is not capital.
It's silent. It's a
not
silent
capital.
W.
Oh.
It's just lowercase. It's not silent.
Okay, all right. So tell us, we interviewed you, God, it must be 2, 3, 4 years and you were talking about financing, photovoltaic on rooftops here, and you were way, way ahead of the market. You were talking about stuff that actually, it's only coming to fruitful now. Back then, you really had a handle on what was going on when you were the CEO of Synetric. So now here we are. We look again, and there's the same Alex Tiller. With a certain facial hair that might be a little different than it was, but I still recognize you. And you're in a different company, a different location. So tell us about the torturous journey that led you from there to here.
I wouldn't call it a torturous journey. It was an excellent journey. To your point, I spent the past 5 years-ish CEOing a company called Synetric, based right there in Hawaii. And loved every minute of it. Great company. We were doing some really innovative stuff on the finance side, but also, we prided ourselves on being innovators through and through. My partner and I recently sold the business to a publicly traded national company that's in the solar space that wanted some presence in Hawaii, and fortunately that freed me up to pursue this other thing I've been working on, kind of thinking about for some time now, and that's Autowatts.
Okay, enter Autowatts. Great name, by the way.
Thank you.
Even with the lowercase w. And can you tell us more about the core idea in Autowatts?
Okay, so in simple terms, Autowatts is a web application. It's a tool that goes into automobile dealerships. And what it does is it allows automobile dealers who are already selling electric vehicles to add a solar system to the purchase of the car. And so what that basically means is that now when you buy an electric vehicle, you can buy the energy system that will power it, and essentially you can hedge your transportation fuel costs, lock it in, know exactly what you're driving, drive on clean, green, renewable energy, and drive on sunshine while you're doing it.
Wow, so it's like the complete kit. You know, this is the deal where you not only get the car, but you get the fuel for the car forever.
It's never been possible before, right? I mean, it's kind of an amazing opportunity now with electric drive technologies that we're able to do something like that. You know, if you try to think through the equivalent, it'd be like selling all the gasoline you were ever going to need with a car, but it's way cleaner and way easier, and it's right at home, and you plug in when you get home, and that's that.
The funny thing is, it's kind of an extension of the whole thing you were working on with Synetric. It's essentially, I mean, I'm assuming there's a financing deal here where you finance the car and the PV all at the same time and make it a package. And you allow the dealer to sell this package to his customers.
Yeah, so our first try, we tried to actually put the two on the same piece of paper, if you will, on the same loan or on the same lease, to put the solar system and the car on the same product, if you will. Mm-hmm. And we found that there was collateralization issues, and the problem that would happen is the car could go out and get totaled, but you'd still have the solar system on your roof. So essentially, they are bifurcated. These are two separate but side-by-side offerings, if you will. And so it's very traditional in the automobile business. When you're buying a car, you'll spend a lot of time in the front of the dealership working out what the right payment is, making sure it's the right vehicle for you, it's the right color, making sure the trade-in is going to work out. You go through that entire process, and then once you've agreed to buy the car, you typically move into what's called the F&I office, the finance and insurance office. Mm-hmm. And other products get added on. There's products, insurance products primarily, that are service protections, warranties, all kinds of different products then get added on. And we're going in right at that point where we're saying, okay, you've agreed to buy this electric vehicle, you're already doing it, which, by the way, a lot of people are buying plug-in electric vehicles right now. And so, what it really does is it allows that dealership to make an offer that's very simple, very easy. The dealership doesn't have to know what a kilowatt is. They don't have to know what a PPA or a lease is. They don't have to know any of that stuff. Basically, we walk the customer into the office, or the dealership does, and they say, okay, good job,
So here
Mr.
you are. You're in the office with the
Yep.
customer. The car is real attractive to this customer. He really wants this car. You're sitting down. You're going to call up that screen on the computer, and we're going to have this conversation about exactly what that computer program can do for the dealership and the customer right after this break, Alex. We're going to have a short break. You guessed that. That's Ray Starling next to me, and Alex Tiller joins us from Denver on Skype, and we're talking about driving on sunshine today with Alex Tiller here in the state of energy, clean energy, in Hawaii. We'll be right back after this short and yet important break.
Aloha, my name is Daniel Luke, and this is my co-host, Ing. We'll be here every other Monday on New Media, The Bleeding Edge on ThinkTech, talking about the intersection of social media and the news. We'll cover technology, trends, and other fun stuff. Did I leave anything out?
Well, I'm here to keep you honest, so that's my job, to remind you of everything you've forgotten and to challenge you at every point.
Excellent. My wife tells me that I'm wrong about quite a lot.
We're back, we're live, we're here in the state of energy, clean energy, driving on sunshine. You know, I came back from lunch in the Pacific Club today, and there was one of those Tesla S sedans there.
Oh.
And they have a charging station, actually, in the Pacific Club now.
Of course.
It's a little wee one. It's not nearly as big as, you know, what you'd find in a shopping center, but there it was. And there was a crowd of people around it, you know.
Oh, really?
So I walked up and I said, "You like this car, huh? You know, let's try to talk. Let me make a deal. I'd like to sell you this car." The guy thought it was my car, so I almost sold it to him. That's a lovely car.
I believe that, actually.
Anyway, they're everywhere now, these electric cars, and you're in the right place, Alex. So here we are in the dealership as we left the exciting story, and the customer is sitting down. He's pretty sure he wants to have this car, this electric, and maybe it's, who knows, maybe it's a Tesla S. And the software comes up on the screen, and the salesman, I guess, is operating the software, and the software has a thing on the top that says Autowatts. Okay, what happens then?
So it's actually a pretty simple presentation. The first thing we do is explain to the customer visually what their power bill is going to do when they go home with their new car. So the key factor here is to give the customer relevant information. You're trading in X vehicle, and you were spending $200 a month on gasoline. Let's just say that's the case. You take this new electric vehicle home, you plug it in, and your power bill is going to go up $60 a month. What we then do is give them the offer, we give them the opportunity to either buy or lease a solar system to fuel the car, and we show that payment directly next to the utility payment that they're going to pay when they go home. See, the key here is that they've, by nature of agreeing to buy the car, they've already agreed to pay for the fuel for it. Mm-hmm. All we're doing is offering them an alternative to go with a cleaner, greener fuel that's cheaper.
So now, I just want to get one thing straight. The package includes the photovoltaic necessary to run the car, you know, to continually, or at least repeatedly, fuel the battery. But does it also include a photovoltaic that will fuel the house? I mean, you're just talking about a limited installation, or is this expandable to a whole thing all over my roof?
Right. So it is expandable to a whole thing all over your roof, as you said. However, we think it's really important to offset your transportation miles first. If you're only going to spend so many dollars, that's not only the most expensive, but also the dirtiest fuel that you're using. Okay? And so that's your absolute first target that you should go for. The other thing to keep in mind is that what we're trying to accomplish here is something that works in all 50 states, which is very unusual. Solar does not normally work, if you will, in all 50 states. You don't always have the same high power costs. You don't always have the same incentives. And so it's important for us to have kind of turned the solar offer on its head and say, let's not just sell them the biggest thing that we possibly can. Let's not put as many panels up there as we possibly can. Let's put the most valuable panels up there that we can. Let's create the most value for that customer. And so ultimately, this works not just in Hawaii and not just in California, but this works in Indiana and Ohio and Kentucky, where right now there's virtually no solar penetration.
So does it recognize different weather? Does it recognize different locations? I mean, so all these factors are being fed into this program now. It sounds fairly complex.
It's a very complex algorithm that we're running, and we're patent pending on a few of the things that approaches that we're taking. So it's a very sophisticated model. Again, we're predictively selling based on your driving habits, based on where you live, based on the characteristics of the battery of the car that you're buying right then. We're able to pull a whole lot of different data points together and to create this solution.
Alex, this is Ray Starling. I'm interested in what what do you actually do? You say you've got software. Are you in the back making the arrangements with a PV firm to install the PV, or is that just randomly bid out to a contractor? And do you do this all across the United States?
Good question, Ray. So right now we're still in our early stages, and so we're doing some beta testing, and we're hoping to scale in 2015, and ultimately get into, there's 17,500 new car dealerships in America, and we'd like to be in all of them. You know, what we're doing from the standpoint of what are we? We're an application. We're a platform that allows dealers to make an offer. It allows solar installers to get more business. It allows solar finance companies to find high quality, high value customers. The demographics on people that are buying electric vehicles are tremendous. And so lenders and solar lease companies want to work with us to deploy capital. And so, you know, we consider ourselves kind of the platform that enables all of these things to happen.
So when you go looking for a customer for you, you're talking to auto dealerships or multiple groups of different entities?
Exactly. So really, we spend a lot of time talking to auto dealerships and getting them to understand the value proposition, getting them to understand the offering, the technology, and basically what carrying this type of a product can do for your profitability of your dealership. So that's really who we're going for. The end customer is the homeowner that's buying the electric vehicle and getting the solar system with it. But we're primarily interfacing with auto dealers and solar installers and solar finance companies.
You know, some people say that electric cars in the near term, not the long term, are going to be sold on the internet. I mean, I think, for example, Tesla's already doing that. You buy it on the internet. So you make your deal, you know, with their software, their website, and delivery is arranged. Some dealers don't like that, you know, and I mean, nobody likes going out of business. But I mean, ultimately, it does suggest the possibility, Alex, that there won't be dealers in the car transaction. I mean, if everybody was buying electric cars, and we can talk about the demographics on that, then if that's true, that people are more likely to buy electric cars for a fixed price, none of that backroom negotiation, none of that salesman, I think I could probably live without for the rest of my life. Then where does the software fit in that new model?
Right. Well, so, you know, first off, dealerships aren't going away. While there is a challenging new model that's approaching, we've decided to partner with the auto dealers and with the current infrastructure. If in the future technologies change and policy changes, which is really what would need to happen, and it's being challenged in a number of states, our application can basically bolt on to other car sales platforms. So if somehow Ford all of a sudden became able to sell directly from Ford, then most definitely we would want the Autowatts application to plug in and be part of that closing of that transaction.
Well, so that means that it wouldn't be a big problem for you to sort of recreate your software, which is now dedicated to dealers, to be useful and understandable by an ordinary schmo who is a customer of an electric car. I mean, right there in his skivvies at home at 2 o'clock in the morning buying his car, he could use your software, right?
Yes, and we're not, I mean, there's not a whole lot of retooling to make that happen. We're in our project pipeline of actual product development here, we do plan on creating a customer tool where they're able to at least start to wrap their heads around these numbers early before they even walk into the dealership. We think that'll actually influence more people to consider an electric drive vehicle when they're doing their research.
Yeah, and it might help those dealers. And, you know, actually, if I were a dealer, I'd want to get in on electric cars, not reject them. But, you know, there are dealers who don't like the idea of, having a new fleet of mechanics or non-mechanics, as the case may be, and having to do, a sort of a different kind of support and maintenance paradigm on electric cars, and they may not want to handle electric cars. But anyway, I wanted to ask you about the distinction between hybrid, handling a hybrid car, handling a pure electric, and whether that's recognized in your software. In other words, if I have a hybrid car, I don't have to have the same level of charge because I can buy gas. I would buy gas for the other end of the hybrid. So it'd be a smaller facility on my roof.
That's right.
Does your software recognize that and distinguish between models and everything?
It does. Yeah, it does. That's the other thing that's key here. We're not doing kind of package A, B, or C and trying to jam everybody into one of three categories. We're dynamically sizing the system based on the customer's needs, and based on the vehicle that they're buying, and based on their driving habits. That's another key point. We actually take into consideration, and it's kind of interesting how we're able to initially make some assumptions and then test those assumptions with the customer. Once they kind of become socialized to the idea of what we're talking about, then we're able to ask them a few more data points, really lock in on what their driving patterns are, and different things can influence it. If you're driving a vehicle and you have workplace charging available, that's great. That changes the size of the potential need of the system if you're going to go take it to work and also charge there. So again, we're not trying to put more panels up than what they need. We're trying to offset their need specifically.
Okay, we're going to take one more break, Alex, and when we come back, I'd like to ask you about hydrogen cars, because some people, even people who come here to ThinkTech with Ray Starling and me, they talk about hydrogen cars, and I'd like to know where your software will fit with hydrogen cars. Okay, but that's after the break, and you'll have roughly 30 seconds to think about that question, and then we'll come back and
All right.
and we'll pose it to you. This is ThinkTech. We're doing the state of clean energy today. We're driving on sunshine with Alex Tiller of Autowatts, who joins us by Skype in Denver, Colorado. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Martin Despang, and I'm the host together with the one and only Ali Amashta, and our show is called Urban Transcendence. And Urban Transcendence is about identifying where we have a unique situation of a vibrant city in one of the most beautiful natural environments. So how these two can coincide, sometimes conflict, how they could find reciprocity in the 21st century is what we're excited about. And we're planning on bringing in a diverse body of guests, both from the arts and the science and the established and the wise and the emerging generation. So hope you will join us. We'll always be on Thursdays from 1 to 2 p.m. Thank you.
Okay, we're back. We're live. We're here on a given Wednesday afternoon, 4 to 5 in Hawaii, the state of clean energy, with Alex Tiller of Autowatts and my co-host Ray Starling of Hawaii Energy. And we're driving on sunshine. Don't you love it? And during the break, Alex, you made an interesting point. That is that although, there is the risk that dealerships will have to change or become irrelevant over time because electric cars, don't require as much maintenance and so forth, there is the possibility that dealerships will morph into, that electric cars will help dealerships remain relevant because of this possibility of selling the package with the photovoltaic. And I think it's a very interesting possibility, and your software will act as a kind of consultant for them and will become very important in their efforts to remain relevant. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good point, Jay. I mean, we've encountered a number of dealerships that actually try to steer customers away, even when they walk in asking for an electric drive vehicle, plug-in electric vehicle. And there's kind of a stigma attached to them that it's a harder sale, that it's more complicated, that the tie-in at the home is problematic. There's also a stigma that these customers that are buying electric vehicles don't buy all the other kind of add-on products because they're leasing the vehicles in many cases. They're leasing them to get their tax credit right away. They don't really realize that, but by working with a lease company, they get that benefit immediately. And so it drives them to do that. And also there's some technology risk in doing something new and innovative. So a lot of the customers are leasing, and the dealerships, many of them are saying, hey, we're losing money on these cars. And so we don't particularly want to sell them. And so we think it's really important that Autowatts can level the playing field and give that dealership something complementary that adds on, that makes that sale a more valuable transaction and puts it back in line with any other vehicle on the lot. And furthermore, we simplify that installation part. We handle all of the getting the charger installed and getting the solar panels installed. In fact, one of our secrets is we give away a free level 2 charger when you buy a solar system from us.
How can I resist? Where do I
There you
sign?
go.
Where does my wife sign? Anyway, you know, this whole discussion, you know, leads to another question that I think I asked you when I saw you at the summit a couple of weeks ago, and that is this: maybe one of the products that Autowatts could add to its array of products is a highly efficient photovoltaic installation on top of the car.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing that yet. I don't understand why. Why can't you do that?
Well, it's a great idea, and I think that at some point the market will go that way. Right now, we don't have the power density to be able to put enough photovoltaics on the roof of a car is very small. And if you think about how many solar panels you're seeing on roofs in Hawaii, that's a pretty large space, even with the highest efficiency panels. So we'll get there eventually. We're going to have to develop some new technologies. That's not necessarily my expertise. But here's the key. You know, from an Autowatt standpoint, when that kind of technology does come out, and when you get range boosters or PV panels for your car that are add-ons, if you think about the aftermarket market business for vehicles, it's in the billions of dollars. Spoilers, wheels, everything under the sun that you can add to your vehicle. And we really think that there will be a trend towards adding new energy-related products to these vehicles, and we're going to be well positioned to make an offer on those, and we'll know those customers very well.
Okay, well that means if Ray and I should find out a way, you know, a new kind of solar device that could be efficient enough put on top of your car, that we should call you immediately. Yeah.
You should call me first.
Okay, Alex. There are side benefits to appearing on ThinkTech.
Absolutely.
Okay, but back to the question that I threatened you with before.
Yes.
You know, we've had a lot of discussion at this table about hydrogen.
Yep.
And about, what is it called, a hydrolyzer? Did I get the right word? You know, where you create hydrogen out of other energy. And, you know, there are people who swear by hydrogen cars, although you can't find one yet. Some of the big manufacturers are coming up with them. You know, and when you think about the fungibility of hydrogen, the fact that you can, you know, take renewables and make them into hydrogen and then transport them relatively easily, you know, that's pretty interesting. At the end of the day, the hydrogen car is really an electric car because it operates off the battery, but there's a fuel cell involved, and it's got, you know, additional capability and additional challenges, I suppose. Bottom line, though, is that just suppose with me that, you know, that I hate to say this, but electric cars are a bridge to hydrogen. Just suppose that.
Yep.
And that at the end of a 5-year period or so, when the technology ripens, we may be living, you know, it's like, it was a real scary thought. We may be living in a world of hydrogen cars. What happens to you then?
Wow. Well, we're not too worried about that. I really appreciate you making the point that hydrogen cars are also electric drive technology, right? I mean, it's still a motor, it's still a battery, and quite frankly, a lot of what we're doing with Autowatts is we're demystifying what it means to drive electric, what it means to charge it, what it means to power it, what that really translates to the customer. And so we see huge opportunities in new technologies that come out in being that player within the dealerships, within the auto space, to talk about new ways to power your personal transportation. So that's kind of our first, the first point on that. The second point, you know, really comes back to the market itself. I don't think you're going to find this electric drive or at least plug-in electric to be a bridge. What I think will happen is we won't have a single mono-source silver bullet like we've had that's basically monopolized our transportation for the past 100 years, which has been gasoline. There's a really interesting story how the internal combustion engine won, and all the different patents and things that basically led to that monopolization. But fundamentally, I think that the future is going to be a variety of different transportation technologies, which makes it even more confusing, which means you need Autowatts even more.
Okay, yeah.
Zeroed right back to
That's a great answer. Have you thought of becoming an attorney in your later years?
I feel like one sometimes with all the contracts I read.
Well, but that leads me to this whole inquiry about what it means to be an entrepreneur. Here you were really brilliant in delivering these financing products through Synetric a few years ago, and it's sort of a natural progression to Solar City, their financing. The whole thing just fits together. And now you have this great idea and this great software, and it's a great niche in the market, and you're delivering that, and you're able to, advocate for it. And I'm thinking, well, there's the mark of an entrepreneur. It's not just that these are, energy products and energy issues. It's that you can put it in a world of energy. You can make, the customer, whether he's the photovoltaic buyer or the car buyer, understand where this fits in his life. And I wonder, how it is to be an entrepreneur like you, Alex. It sounds like you're going serial. It sounds like you're, as an entrepreneur, quite successful in being with the, Energy Accelerator and Dawn Libbert. And it's, it sounds like you're on the road to somewhere, whether it be this or the next thing or the next thing. Tell us about the life of the entrepreneur these days.
Thank you for that. That was very generous of you. It is exciting. I do consider myself an entrepreneur. I don't think if you would have asked me that 6 years ago, I would have fully, although I'd done a couple of companies before even Synetric, I don't think I would have considered myself that. But now I definitely do, and I think it's a way of life. I mean, it's a blessing. I get to wake up every day and try to solve really, really big problems, and that's how I think about it.
Problem solving. It's innovation. It's the challenge of answering difficult questions, of making solutions that work. There's a real psychic benefit in all that, a real thrill, and it shows in you, actually, Alex.
Thank you.
So where are you on the continuum of 0 to a million billion?
0 to a million billion. Is million an interval, or is it a million billion?
It's a bridge. It's a bridge.
Okay. We've got a great solution that we're bringing to market right now. We expect to be scaling that over the next 2 to 3 years. I mentioned earlier that we were focused on trying to get in all 50 states in the U.S., which a lot of solar companies have thought about and would love to do, but there hasn't been a clear path to do it. We think we've found a way via the automobile. We also think that this could be a global play, and we think that the energy markets in Europe and a number of places, Asia, people buy cars all over the world, and so these new solutions are going to be available, and if we do it right, maybe we can get to that billion someday. I think in the short run, I'm just focused on let's get in 17,500 dealerships in the U.S. and then let's start to wade into some international waters, which I've never done before. So that's going to be pretty challenging, and I'm excited about that.
Well, put me for a minute. Put me in the landscape of Hawaii. So this is a company that has had the good fortune of being associated with the accelerator. You're in the current cohort, I guess. How helpful is that for you? How much anchor does that give you in Hawaii, and how much leverage does it give you outside of Hawaii?
Tremendous. I can't say enough good things about Energy Accelerator and the entire team over there. They've really helped us bring our concept to conversations that we wouldn't have been able to get to ourselves. You know, I want to make a point, even though I'm in Denver right now, you know, we've got three employees in Hawaii. We've actually got more people in Hawaii that work for us than anywhere else. So, you know, we're most definitely still very Hawaii focused from a talent and resource standpoint. You know, but again, we're striving to be a national and global player. You know, when we think big, we're thinking really big.
Got to.
Yeah, you know, the accelerator has been basically a launch pad for us, and I think that we, quite frankly, I've got a fair amount of experience and a pretty good, not a real Rolodex, but that's kind of the terminology that gets used. But you know, I couldn't be where I am right now, and our team wouldn't be where we are right now without the accelerator team really getting behind us.
So what's the next step? What's the state of your funding right now, and when are you going public?
Yep. So we are about to close. The initial development of this was basically done by my partner and I. So we've got a serious investment in the technology ourselves, and in the concept and the business model and all the other things that have gotten us this far. We're just about to bring on our next round. We've basically closed in principle on that deal to do our first round of angel financing. That gave us a nice valuation. We have a good understanding of it and a runway in front of us for a number of months to get through ultimately this beta period where we're proving out our technology. We're actually going to start to do some volume of deals and get some specific metrics on close ratios and things like that, so that as you go to scale the business and raise money against it, you're able to extrapolate basically valuation and all the other things that you need to do that. So my next raise, you know, we're starting now. We're actively fundraising right now. Thanks to the Jobs Act, I'm allowed to say things like that these days. We're looking for our next round of investment probably in the next 2 to 3 months, and you know, it will probably be on the order of magnitude of $3 to $5 million to ultimately scale the business nationally, and we'll go from there.
Okay, what about Hawaii Energy interns? Maybe he can use some.
Oh, sure. Well, we'll turn them loose.
No, actually, we actually do use that program, by the way. I wanted to give some support to that, not only to Kupu, but the RISE program. Through Energy Accelerator, we've had some access to some interns, and it's been incredibly helpful. Yeah. And I can't say enough good things. Again, you know, this is the type of things that Accelerator brings. I don't have time to go out and chase down interns myself. You know, and it was basically brought to us, and just a tremendous program, and we really appreciate it.
That's great. Good for you, Ray. Good. So, Ray, take a moment and summarize and close and to give good thoughts and whatever.
Well, yeah, I think the most interesting thing is that Alex has, like so many entrepreneurs, they have seen something that was right in front of everybody, but nobody except Alex and his partner actually saw it and said, we're going to make this happen. And it's sort of merging your electric vehicle with the fuel that you need to run the vehicle. So it's a great opportunity for you to pull these things together, and you can be working the electric vehicle side or the PV side or both. And I think it's a wonderful idea that will get some legs and maybe be in 50 states in the not too distant future.
We'll be following the action, Alex, and maybe you'll come on again in a few months and give us a status report of your progress, eh?
I'll do that.
Thank you, Alex Tiller, Autowatts, here on the State of Clean Energy, driving on sunshine with Ray and me. Ray and me. Thank you, Ray Starling.
Okay.
Aloha, you guys. It's been fun.
Thanks, everyone.
See you
Thanks,
tomorrow for Martin Despain, Urban Transcendence. Aloha.